Pokemon Crystal Clear is an open world ROM hack of Pokemon Crystal, where you can literally visit any town you want in any given moment. I've been recently craving an adventure in the old GameBoy Color graphics, and I thought the open world nature of this game would be a nice appetizer for this year's open world adventure in Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. This game lets you customize your character's avatar, colors, and even your starting town to really spice things up and make each trainer's journey feel truly unique. On top of that, you have the option of picking one out of 30 different starters, ranging from classics like the first 2 generation starters to more obscure ones like the baby Pokemon, Smeargle, Shuckle, even Unknown. But one other thing you can do is inject any Pokemon from the first 2 generations into this game through an external website. So I put in Sandshrew, the original mascot Pokemon of this channel, and I shiny hunted it. Shiny hunting your starter in this game is super easy. You get to save right after you select your starter and can quick reset the shiny hunt. After about 15-ish minutes or so, I got my shiny Sandshrew, who I named Freddy, after my cat of 12 years. Just look at this orange rascal, I love him. I head downstairs, out of my rented room in Viridian City, and head straight to the Viridian City gym. One of my biggest goals was to apply for the vacant Viridian City gym leader spot. Upon my arrival, I meet a dude who looks a lot like me, and he says he took over the gym and doesn't have a type specialty. His name is Blue, and he's the new gym leader. I challenge him to a battle for the Earth Badge, my favorite badge, and he leads off with an Abra? What is this? His Abra starts flashing me, but I eventually take him down with a few Metal Claws. Then he sends out a Squirtle? I'm so confused at this point. His Squirtle hits me with a bubble and I go for Flail, but miss. Another bubble knocks me out and Blue takes half my money and kicks me out of his gym. Freddy and I stood in front of the Pokemon Center pondering our next move. How could somebody with no type specialty take over a gym and become its leader? Giovanni, the former gym leader, was a ground type specialist and showed great mastery of the typing. I then realized my goal of becoming the Viridian City gym leader was only just the beginning. I'm going to bring prestige back to the ground typing, and I'm going to do it with style. What to do with Shrew? And I'm going to beat the other 15 gym leaders of Kanto and Johto using only shiny ground type Pokemon, and then I'm going to show Blue who truly deserves to be the Viridian City gym leader. My first stop on this gym leader showdown tour was in Pewter City, where I met with the rock type gym leader Brock. He leaves off with a Geodude, so I go for 2 Metal Claws and knock him down. Onyx is next, and he immediately goes for Bide right before I use a Metal Claw. If I would have kept on with Metal Claw, there would have been a chance I'd lose that fight, so I went for counter instead, but I ended up missing the counter. Maybe counter doesn't work with Bide, I don't know, but I knew I better not hit him. A couple Metal Claws later, and I take down his Onyx and claim the Boulder Badge. After heading through Mount Moon, I make it to Cerulean City, but rather than take on Misty now, I decide to head north and take a ferry to Olivine City. Jasmine was in consideration for my next gym challenge, but with no ground type moves and only one Pokemon, I held off. Instead, I went all the way to Goldenrod City to take on Whitney, but first I visited the game corner to play the slots. After I hit the jackpot, I figured my luck was as high as I was going to get, so I went to the prize section where I saw my next team member, Cubone. So I began soft resetting. It took about 45 minutes, but shiny Cubone finally showed up. I named him Leo after my bulky tabby cat of 8 years. Probably should point this out, all of the nicknames in this video are for some of the animals that I have. Yeah, some. I should also probably point out that this video is not under hardcore Nuzlocke rules, at least in the traditional sense. While I never actually change it to set mode, I don't switch out before the opponent comes out, and I don't use items in battle. I tend to follow the old school Pokemon anime logic where Ash would attempt a gym challenge again if he failed. So while I may not show you the failed attempts, believe me, there were many failed attempts. This challenge with Whitney took me 3 attempts. I let off with Leo the Cubone versus her Clefairy. I go for Rock Smash, which does so little, and she goes for Double Slap, then mimics my Rock Smash. I drop her defenses twice, but she goes for a Metronome, which gives her Aurora Beam and almost knocks me out. After dropping her defense for a 3rd time, Metronome gives her Feint Attack and knocks out Cubone. Freddy comes in and finishes Clefairy off with a Metal Claw. I was really hoping for an attack boost, but no luck. Her Miltank comes out next and starts a rollout but misses, which gives me a free turn to use Sand Attack. She then lands a Stomp that flinches me and goes for a Defense Curl while I continue using Sand Attack. Screw it, might as well. After I throw a little dirt in her eye, I decide to go for Poison Sting in hopes of getting her poisoned, but she attracts me first, which delays this whole battle. Eventually, I poison her Miltank, so it's just a matter of outlasting her, which isn't too difficult with leftovers. Poison finally knocks her out, and I'm awarded the Playing Badge after she finishes crying. I head north to Ecruteak City, as I felt Morty and his ghost types would fall pretty easily to my ground types. His Ghastly starts things off with a curse on my Cubone, who misses his first Bone Club but lands the second. Ghastly 1 falls, and out comes Ghastly 2, who also falls to Bone Club. Ghastly 3 is out next, and yeah, you guessed it, Bone Club KO. Finally, Ghastly 4 is out and does what the others couldn't do and puts me to sleep turn 1. Luckily, I wake up right before the curse is going to knock me out, and I take down the Ghastly Quartet with just Leo the Cubone. Fog Badge acquired. I make my way south towards Azalea Town, and on the way there, Freddy evolves into a beautiful Scarlet Spiked Sandslash. I head through Union Cave where I encounter the next team member to join the party, Wooper. Now in Pokemon Crystal Clear, you're able to Shiny Hunt and Max Stevie Hunt through a special method called chaining. Basically, you continually knock out the same species over and over and your odds increase. Your chain maxes out at 250. I spent nearly 2 hours hunting down this Wooper, which, big deal, that's nothing, and yeah, you're right. But consider that I was using speed up the entire time, encountering Wooper once every 2 seconds, and yeah, it's pretty freaking crazy. Eventually, Shiny Wooper shows up, and I catch her in a love ball and name her Belle after my sweet upper. After spending such a long time on this hunt, I decided I wanted another easy gym victory, so I head back to Goldenrod City, and I take the train to Saffron City. I head south and reach Vermilion City, where Lieutenant Surge awaits us. He leads off with Pikachu, and I lead with Belle the Wooper. I immediately switch to Cubone while Pikachu misses with Slam. He lands the second Slam, but I knock Pikachu out with a Boomerang. Voltorb's out next, and I realized after watching this footage back that I accidentally switched out before the Voltorb came out. It didn't matter much, I suppose, because a Boomerang would have almost certainly knocked it out anyway. Besides, Wooper falls to an explosion, so even Stevens? I send Leo back out, and Surge sends out his Elekid. Boomerang knocks it down as well as the Magnemite afterwards, and I claim the Thunder Badge. The next stop on the tour is Fuchsia City, and on the way there, Leo evolves into Marowak, and Belle evolves into Quagsire. The team is looking good so far. Janine is the next gym leader, and well, yikes. She leads off with Golbat, who goes for Toxic, but misses my Quagsire. Belle uses Ancient Power, which does almost half, but we get the stat boost. Golbat hits me with Confuse Ray, and then I hit myself. Then Golbat lands Toxic. Great. Luckily, Ancient Power breaks through and defeats the Golbat. Ariados is out next, and I'm confused no more, and connects with another Ancient Power, but it doesn't one-shot. Nightshade does 24 damage, and then Ariados goes down next turn. Venonat is out, and I use my final Ancient Power and then a Surf and knock it out. The Coughing Kids are next, and they both fall to Surf, and I pretty easily get the Soul Badge. I take the ferry south of Fuchsia to Olivine City and go from Janine to Jasmine. Short story even shorter, except for an Iron Tail that does a decent chunk, Marowak easily handles the Olivine City gym, and the Mineral Badge is ours. Yeah, not really much to say for this battle, except that Jasmine made me realize who my next team member should be. That's right, it's time to go shiny hunting for Onix. Now this hunt was pretty fast for me. I didn't even max out my chain, and then when I went to grab a Pepsi from the fridge and I came back, shiny Onix was all, "Is that for me?" So I catch him and name him Lucky. 1, because this was a pretty lucky encounter, and 2, after my youngest cat Lucky, who I saved as a kitten from ongoing traffic. With the newly acquired Onix, I decided that Faulkner and Bugsy should be my next 2 challenges, so I head to Faulkner. This one actually took me a couple tries for whatever reason. He leads off with Pidgeot, who I must say has a really cool looking design in this game. I love that hair. I knew Pidgeot was gonna go for Fly, which he does, so I conserve my Rock Slide and go for Screech, and obviously miss because I'm much slower. I misclick and go for Screech again, but this time it connects. So after another Fly attempt, I land Rock Slide but still don't KO, even with the defense drop. Pidgeot then goes for Whirlwind and drags out Freddy, who eats a Fly attack, and I KO with Metal Claw, hoping for an attack boost. Pidgeot 2 is next, and it goes for Double Team. I go for Slash and miss. Wing Attack connects, but so does my Slash, but Pidgeot eats it. Rinse and repeat about 5 more times, and I finally take down the Pidgeot after 2 misses. Fearow is out next, and I decide to just let Freddy take the KO, but not before he lands a Slash. Onix cleans up with a Rock Slide, and out comes his ace Dodrio. Dodrio goes for double team, but I'm able to connect with a rock slide that does about 50% damage. I end up getting burned by a tri-attack, but I luckily avoid the attack drop with a crit rock slide, and we get the Zephyr badge. I make my way to Azalea Town to take on Bugsy next. Bugsy leads with Butterfree, and I lead with Lucky the Onix. Onix is faster and goes for rock slide but misses, and of course Butterfree lands the highly inaccurate Supersonic, go figure. Luckily we're able to connect with rock slide next turn and Butterfree is down. Heracross is out next, so I decide to go for a Sandstorm for some residual damage. He goes for Fury Cutter, which does nothing, and I go for Rock Slide, but it's looking like a 3-hit kill. That ends up being the case, and out next is Pinsir. Pinsir misses Submission, and I hit it with Rock Slide. Submission gets a crit next turn and knocks Onix out. I send out Belle to finish the job with an Ancient Power, and she gets a crit, which might have mattered. I again go for Ancient Power on the incoming Beedrill in hopes of an attack boost, but nothing. After knocking out the Beedrill, Scyther is out next, and I take it down with 2 Ancient Power attacks, and we get the Hive badge. We're halfway there. We head back to Goldenrod City to do some shopping, and we find a vendor who happens to sell a metal coat, so we buy that and evolve our Onix into Steelix. The vendor also sold various evolution stones, including the Moonstone, so we buy that and it's time to get the penultimate team member. But will it be Nidoking or Nidoqueen? I'll give you a few seconds to write down your guess in the comment section down below. And while you're there, do me a solid and hit the subscribe button if you're new and the like button if you're digging this different style of video for me. This has been a lot of fun and I want to do more like this, so let me know what you think. Alright, guess is locked in? Great. The next target Pokemon will be, drumroll please, Nidoran Mel. I just love that blue color scheme his shiny has. So I head back to Fuchsia City and into the Safari Zone, where there's no time limit anymore and you get to use your own balls to catch these Pokemon. The hunt begins and man, this one took almost as long as the Wooper hunt. We eventually meet up with the shiny Nidoran Mel and nickname it Gino after my German Shepherd mix. Now I could have saved myself a couple minutes by just hunting down Nidorino, but that wouldn't have been fun. I wanted to experience the shiny glow up from gentle creature to absolute behemoth. And behemoth he is. Nidoking is so versatile. There's a move tutor in front of the Celadon City Game Corner who teaches Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, and Ice Beam. 3 powerful moves that Nidoking can learn, and learn them he did. With that power in hand, we decide to take on Erica next. I mistakenly lead with Marowak against her Tangela, and she proceeds to bully me with Giga Drain. My headbutts were not enough and didn't flinch once, and she recuperates half her health back. Gino is out next and demolishes with Flamethrower. Victory Bell is next, and I go for Earthquake and then Flamethrower after Victory Bell made a silly and used Sunny Day. Blossom is next, and Flamethrower gets a crit and knocks her out. Jumpluff is the last member of the gym team, and I decide to go for an Ice Beam because it's quite effective and yep, one shot. That was easy. Rainbow Badge is mine! Cianwood City's Chuck is next, and I tell ya, this one was one of the hardest gym leaders to fight. He starts with Primeape and I Steelix. He goes for Seismic Toss and I go for Earthquake, which does over half. Rinse and repeat and Primeape is down. Easy so far. Next is his Poliwrath. He goes for Surf and knocks me out, of course. I send out Gino. Gino goes for Thunderbolt, but I don't even get half. Poliwrath then throws and goes for Mind Reader. A Surf would have done serious damage. I go for another Thunderbolt and bring Poliwrath to the red, but then he goes for Hypnosis? Now he starts to go for Surf and yeah, serious damage. I stay asleep and Surf knocks me out the next turn. I send Freddy out as he's my fastest available Pokemon and he knocks out Poliwrath. Chuckle, yes, Chuckle, is out next. I go for Earthquake and do about a quarter damage, but Shuckle locks into Rollout. So my Earthquakes eventually knock him out. Machamp is out next and he lands a 50% accurate Dynamic Punch on me. Luckily I break through, but Earthquake does not knock him out. I continue to hit myself with Confusion, but Machamp is not strong enough to wipe me out and I slash him out of here. Last Pokemon is Ursaring and I deal Earthquake damage before falling to a Stab Slash. Quagsire comes in and finishes the battle with her own Earthquake and we get the Storm Badge. The next destination is Mahogany Town, where we intend to take on the Ice-type gym leader, Price. This gym battle also took me a few tries. We just don't match up well against Ice-types. He sends out his Sneasel and my Marowak goes for Boomerang and knocks him out. Dugong is next and misses Blizzard, but my Boomerang connects and almost takes him down. Unfortunately, Blizzard connects next turn and Marowak is down. Sandslash is a fast boy, so one slash finishes the job and out comes Piloswine. I go for Earthquake and not even half. I dodge Blizzard and go for another EQ when Blizzard connects this time. I barely survive on 13 HP, but Price heals up his Piloswine. I didn't see that coming, so I went for Slash. Another EQ and Blizzard combo, and I fall first. Steelix comes in, but I'm somehow slower than a Piloswine. Luckily his EQ doesn't do much, so mine finishes the job. Cloyster is the last Pokemon and goes for Surf, which knocks Steelix out. Nidoking comes in, uses Thunderbolt, and one-shots the Cloyster. Oh wait, there's one more Pokemon, and it's Lapras. I go for another Thunderbolt and not even half. But once again my Pokemon dodges a Blizzard, but then gets hit with one on the next turn. I survive with 7 HP, and Thunderbolt wipes out Lapras, and finally we get the Glacier Badge. I travel north to do some exploring, and I enter a room full of Swinub. This isn't the first time I've seen random Swinub throughout my journey. And that's when I have an epiphany. There's one final team member slot to fill, and there's been a Pokemon literally staring at me this entire time. Yeah, so much for a big reveal, it's obviously Swinub. I mean, who else? After we slay the Red Gyarados, we head to the Ice Path and begin our final hunt for my Shiny Ground type team. And holy crap, this one took forever. I mean seriously, this one took me 2 days. 2 days of speed up. My hands are cramping up from the constant movement of the D-pad. I could barely feel my right arm. But finally, after what seemed like forever, Shiny Swinub appears. I name her Macy after a stray dog my family took in. It's a very sweet dog who loves to give human hugs. After some training, our final team member evolved into Piloswine, and just like that, I assembled the ultimate Shiny Ground type team. It was time to get those last remaining badges. Claire from Blackthorn City had me stressed out. Her Pokemon were just really good and versatile. So many damn attempts. She starts off with her Dragonite against my Marowak and goes for Surf and does great damage. My Thrash brings her down to about half health, but another Surf does it. I send Geno out next and immediately go for Ice Beam, which knocks out Dragonite, but then Kingdra's next. I knew that Nidoking was necessary to win this battle, so I swap out the Quagsire and dodge 2 Hydro Pumps while my Earthquake does decent damage. Hydro Pump 3 lands and brings me to below half, and then a 4th knocks me out. I thought Sandslash was faster. I was wrong. Kingdra lands a Hydro Pump and OHKOs my Sandslash. I bring out Steelix next. I figured she was out of Hydro Pumps now, but she has another water move and Surf. I survive on 21 HP, and Earthquake knocks her out, with a crit to boot. Dragonite 2 is out next and knocks me out with Flamethrower. I decide to send out Piloswine, and I take one Flamethrower and deal a critical hit Ice Beam that kills. Charizard is out next and finishes me with her own Flamethrower. My last chance was Nidoking. Charizard goes for Earthquake and does more than half. I go for Thunderbolt and do more than half and no paralysis. Great, I lost again. Except she uses a Hyper Potion? Hold up, there's still a chance. I go for T-Bolt, but same spot as before, but with no paralysis. Earthquake is used and no way. That must have been a low roll because I survive on 4 HP, thank goodness. T-Bolt connects and this Charizard, who had given me so much trouble, finally falls, and all that's left is Dragonite 3. Am I faster? Yes I am. Ice Beam critical hit OHKO victory. This battle, jeez. The Rising Badge is ours. 4 badges remain, all in Kanto. So our next stop was Cerulean City. Somewhere in the journey I managed to find a Thick Club for Marowak, so I give that to him. Thick Club basically doubles Marowak's attack power, so very much needed. Misty leads off with her Golduck against my Marowak. She connects with Hydro Pump, almost knocks me out, but I knock her out with Boomerang. Quagsire is out next, and I win again with Boomerang. Lapras comes out next, and no way we get 3 in a row, right? Yeah, no. But we were close. She connects with a Blizzard, and Marowak is done for the day. Geno is out next, and Thunderbolt quickly finishes Lapras. Now Starmie comes out, and I knew I wasn't outspeeding it, but it goes for Confuse Ray, and I land a T-Bolt and paralyzes Starmie. I break through Confusion, and T-Bolt gets rid of Starmie. What a waste. Now Octillery is out, eats 2 Thunderbolts, and decides to leave. The last Pokemon surprised the hell out of me. Lugia? Misty has a Lugia? I mean, it is the Guardian of the Sea, so it makes sense. Lugia is obviously faster and goes for Psychic, which knocks out my Nidoking. I send out Macy, and she takes a Hydro Pump to her cowboy hat and deals a little damage with her Ice Beam. Hydro Pump knocks me out, and I send out Quagsire. She eats 2 Psychics, and I'm able to bring Lugia down to the red with 2 Ancient Powers. Lucky comes in, takes a Hydro Pump, and lands a Rock Slide for the win. Wow. Did not expect to face a legendary, but we get the Cascade badge, and now it's time to see Sabrina. Sabrina leads off with an Espeon, who, while not shiny here, has my favorite shiny of the evolutions. Yeah, I'm that guy. She uses Psychic on my Piloswine, and I survive a hit so I can land an Earthquake before I get knocked out. Marowak comes out, and she goes for a Morning Sun to restore some health, but it didn't matter because Boomerang wins. Mr. Mime comes out, sets up a Reflect, which helps, because I'm not able to one-shot it with Boomerang, but my second one finishes the job. Alakazam is next, and hits me with a powerful Psychic attack. That Reflect definitely helped Alakazam because it survives my otherwise guaranteed Boomerang killer. Psychic sends Marowak back to its ball, and out next is my Sandslash. Alakazam goes for Recover and I go for Earthquake, do decent damage, and then the Reflect fades. Alakazam keeps spamming Recover, and eventually my Earthquakes outdo the Recovery and we win that fight. Xatu comes out next and uses Nightshade and I go for Slash, which gets a critical hit. Then it uses Psychic, but I survive enough to get Xatu into the red before fainting. Quagsire comes out to play and Xatu greets her with a Psychic, but I finish her with an Ancient Power. Girafarig comes out next and pretty handily gets knocked out with 2 Earthquakes. Then Mew shows up. Oh, come on. A Mythical? Who can literally have any move? Great. Mew knocks out Quagsire with Psychic, and I'm left with Steelix and Nidoking. I decide to go for Nidoking out of sheer curiosity, and we live on 12 HP, enough to do a decent chunk of damage. Lastly, it's Steelix's time to shine. Mew continues its Psychic onslaught, but we resist. Earthquake does some work. Mew then goes for Metronome and gets a Baton Pass, which is a freebie. Then Mew gets Metronome Boomerang, but it's not my Leo, so that's not doing anything. Eventually, Mew returns to using Psychic and almost knocks me out, but I live on 6 HP, and I deal the final blow with Earthquake. First try victory against Sabrina, and the Marsh badge is claimed. Misty and Sabrina, I was able to take down first try. Blaine, surprisingly, took me a few tries. He leads off with Macargo, so I send out Steelix and one-shot it with Earthquake. Easy enough. Then he just says, "Playtime is over," and sends out his own legendary, Moltres. The Fire Chicken knocks me out with a critical Fire Blast, so I send out Quagsire. Belle takes a Fire Blast and I go for Ancient Power. Blaine heals Moltres and I go for another. Fire Blast lands again, and luckily we didn't get a burn because Ancient Power knocks out the Moltres. No stat boost, sadly. Rapidash is out next. I dodge a Fire Blast and land an Earthquake and one-shot the Rapidash. Now Magmar comes out. Say what you want, but I love Magmar. Belle doesn't, so she dodges a Fire Blast and knocks out Magmar with an Earthquake. Houndoom is out next and it knocks me out with a Crunch. I send out Freddy and he gets hit with a Fire Blast but deals enough damage to OHKO Houndoom and one Pokemon left. It's Arcanine. Fun fact, when I initially thought of doing a shiny only run of this game, my starter was Growlithe. Anyway, Fire Blast misses and Sandslash gets the win with an Earthquake. Blaine is defeated and the Volcano badge is mine. One final badge remains. It's time to show Blue and the rest of Kanto and Johto why I deserve to be the Viridian City Gym Leader. He leads with an Executor against my Nidoking. I go for Flamethrower, which does a bit over half, and he goes for Psychic, which wipes me out. Piloswine is out next, and she wins with an Ice Beam. Up next is his Blastoise. That little squirrel that we faced so long ago is now our powerful Blastoise. He hits with a Hydro Pump and Piloswine is down. I send out Quagsire to do battle. Blastoise misses a Hydro Pump and we land an Earthquake. We eat up a Hydro Pump and land another Earthquake, but Blastoise lives by a sliver. So do we, and another EQ wins. Now Pidgeot is out next and prepares for a Sky Attack, so we go for Ancient Power to get some damage and fall the next turn to Sky Attack. Steelix is next and we use Rock Slide and flinch the Pidgeot. He uses Mirror Move and flinches us back. We go for Rock Slide again and Pidgeot is down. Arcanine comes out and uses Flamethrower and knocks us down and out. I send out Sandslash and we take a Flamethrower and respond with a critical hit Earthquake. 2 Pokemon remain. He sends out a Mewtwo. Wait, what? You're kidding me. Mewtwo uses Psychic and knocks out Sandslash. Marowak is my last Pokemon. Mewtwo uses Psychic again, I live. I use Boomerang, but it's just not strong enough and we fall to another Psychic. That's it? We lose like that? I gathered up the strongest and shiniest ground types I could find, and he just whips out a Mewtwo of all things? No, we're not done yet. We do some more training and return to face Blue again. This time, I start off with my Marowak. I go for headbutts and hope of flinching, but that doesn't work and Executor knocks out Leo with Solar Beam. Now Geno comes out and finishes Marowak with Flamethrower. Blastoise is next, and I go for Thunderbolt and get a Paralysis. I take a Hydro Pump to the face and live on 4 HP. Can we get some more luck? Thunderbolt again, a little bit of health remains, and Blastoise is fully paralyzed. Alright, I'll take that. One more T-Ball and Blastoise is down. Blue is pissed now because he sends out his Mewtwo already. I let Geno take the fall, he did his job. Lucky is out next. We resist Mewtwo's psychic attacks. We take some damage and dead out even more with a crit Earthquake. One more Earthquake comes out and we knock out the Mewtwo. Let's go. Arcanine is next and I'm down to a Flamethrower. I send out Freddy and Arcanine goes for a Fire Spin, he's throwing. I go for Earthquake. Seriously, how many times have I used that move in this video? And I almost knock out the Arcanine. Flamethrower is used next, but I knock out the Arcanine. Now it's time for Pidgeot and his cool hair. He preps a Sky Attack, so I go for a Slash. Little damage, but I survive a Sky Attack. We continue to trade moves, but Pidgeot wins with Sky Attack. Macy comes out and sends Pidgeot back to the jukebox. One final Pokemon. One last Pokemon to finally prove that I'm worthy of being this city's gym leader. Rhydon. How fitting. The only ground-type Pokemon that he owns. And he doesn't know how to use them to his full potential because he goes for Rollout. Rollout. What a sad way to end this man's career, but it had to be done. Earthquake gets the win, and the final gym badge is won. The Earth badge is here. The Pokemon League calls and congratulates the team and I for claiming all 16 badges. We did it. I now have substantial proof that I deserve to be the Viridian City gym leader. But there's one more group to prove that to. The Elite Four. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is probably my favorite video I've ever made. I really like the whole role-playing aspect I put myself in, and I felt that's what Pokemon Crystal Clear is really about. I've seen complaints that the story isn't there, but I disagree. The story is there, you just have to tell your tale. This is part 1. Part 2 will be up soon. I went back and forth on including the Pokemon League part into this video, but I really do feel like that deserves a video of its own. That, and I didn't want this video to be over an hour. So subscribe if you're new, hit the like button, and stay tuned for the finale of my journey in Pokemon Crystal Clear. Bye!